And we did indicate we'll be taking you live to one of the active scenes where our colleagues are. And in actual fact, the media, including the SABC News team, have been refrained from taking photographs at the scene of a collapsed temple in Verulam. This is north of Durban, while the search for the men who might still be trapped resumed this morning. One person was killed, we understand, and at least 8 others were rescued yesterday. SABC News reporter Ayanda Mhlongo is live to us from there. Ayanda, I won't say good morning to you, but this must still be a community left in devastation as the search resumed this morning. What do we know about the latest?
Griselda, very good morning to you and good morning to our viewers. Well, as you said there in your introduction, Chris, that a bit difficult for the members of the media to be able to report on this story from this morning, because we understand that the owners of the property where the temple was have instructed their security to move us off the property, and so that is why we're actually now coming to you from the main road, and this is where we have been asked to at least stand and report from. Unfortunately, then doesn't give us that vantage point that our teams had yesterday, where we were able to give our viewers live coverage of what was happening at the site. Really no reasonable explanation as well, Griselda, as to why the media today, after yesterday being given access to the site, why today we have been pushed back. But of course we know that last night there was a statement that was issued by the municipality. Their preliminary report having found that the structure had no approvals, and therefore the city saying that it rendered this structure illegal. And so we don't know whether or not that has anything to do with the fact that we have now been pushed away from the site. But we were able to speak to IPSS, Samantha Merrick from IPSS, which are part of the teams that are on site, Griselda, trying to recover or find the 3 men we understand that are still trapped underneath the rubble. And an update from her, of course, was that last night they had to call off the operation, and it resumed early this morning at around 5 p.m. And they're saying that they're working under really difficult and dangerous conditions, Griselda, because the area is at a slope, and of course they're dealing with these massive concrete slabs, bricks and sand as well. And one of the biggest concerns was, of course, the weather. As you can see now, it is starting to rain, and Samantha did say that that is going to make it even more difficult for the rescue teams. And unfortunately, she said that if the rain persists, it could mean that to ensure the safety, at least now, of the rescue teams, that they may have to pause the operation. But when we checked the weather, Griselda, it looked as though it's going to rain for most of the day and into the afternoon, and it is going to get quite heavy after lunchtime. And so we don't know what that will now mean. They were working really against the clock this morning to try and get to these 3 men. She said that for now they could confirm seeing 3 men who are unresponsive, but could not confirm yet whether this would now be turned into more of a recovery operation. She said that of course they would need to get to them to be able to do the medical examinations and then be able to pronounce on their condition. But for now they are still trying to retrieve the 3 men that are trapped under the concrete. That's the update at the moment, at least, Griselda, that one is able to share with our viewers. Of course, around 1 p.m. today, we are expecting the Minister of Public Works and Infrastructure, Dean McPherson, accompanied by the MEC for Cooperative Governance in the province of KwaZulu-Natal, Reverend Thulasizwe Buthelezi, as well as representatives of the construction industry. They are expected to arrive here at the site. And of course, that's where most of the questions that we have, Griselda, around how far the investigations from the teams that were deployed by disaster management, as well as the SAPS that have been working at the site since yesterday. And of course, the other concern yesterday, our colleagues, Simpiwe Makanya, they were able to at least engage with one of the workers once they pulled that particular person out from the rubble, and he did say that he is a foreign national, but of course can't yet determine whether or not he's an undocumented foreign national. I suppose those are the questions, Griselda, that we will then pose to the minister when he arrives, and certainly they would have had more information from their teams on the ground. We will remain here, as I said, around, although difficult to report due to how the manner in which the media has been treated, but we will be giving our viewers an update. And of course, certainly we hope that once the minister and his delegation arrive, we will then be granted access into the site. But that's all we can say for now, Griselda. The biggest concern, of course, is the rain. It is starting to rain, and it is going to get heavier as the day progresses. And so the rescue is saying that, of course, that is going to be one of their biggest challenges, which could unfortunately mean that they'd have to pause the search. But we are on the story, Griselda, and we will remain here for as long as we can, giving our viewers an update in terms of this rescue here in Verulam. Griselda?
Just before I let you go, Ayanda, you did allude to this, that rescuers are concerned about the weather conditions there. Are there any family members or concerned individuals that might have come to that site? I know you've been pushed a bit far away from there, but anyone that you might have, had a glance of who's concerned about the situation there? Because, of course, last night, due to poor lighting conditions, it had to be, postponed to this morning or called off till this morning. It's resumed this morning. But you have another challenge of weather conditions, of course, which these rescuers would also be taking a chance with if they continued and that rain starts pouring down even heavier.
Yeah, very important that you raise that point, Griselda. In fact, just an hour or so ago, we did see two vehicles that were attempting to enter this property. And when we engaged with those gentlemen, they did say that they were family members of the men that are trapped inside. A short while as they went in, we then saw them leave, and they told us too that they had been asked to leave. So that then means that even some family members have been asked to leave the site. I must also then indicate, though, Griselda, that there are two ways to get into this particular area. Of course, on the other side, which doesn't really give media much of a vantage point. It was easier for us to access the site using this entrance, and so we're not too sure currently whether or not there may be family members on the other side that are waiting there, and whether or not they have been given access in that opposite entrance. But from where we are, the two gentlemen that we did speak to earlier on, who of course were not ready to speak to us on camera, but they did say that they were family members, really concerned, because they were also only getting updates from the media, relying on the media to give them updates in terms of what is happening. So they might have then gone back and used another entrance. We're not certain of that, but they were unable to access the site, well, certainly from where we are. But I would definitely presume, Griselda, that there would be family members in and around this area waiting for answers. Of course, we also do know that one of the men that is trapped is believed to be one of the directors or owners of the temple and this site, and his family members were also there from yesterday, and one would imagine that they would have returned this morning also seeking answers, or at least an update in terms of the recovery or the rescue operations. But as I was saying, Griselda, we are on the ground despite where we've been essentially pushed to, and we'll be trying to give our viewers much as we can in terms of the updates of what is happening. But we are hoping, of course, that when the minister and his team arrive, we will certainly then be able to get access into the site and be able to give more definite answers as to exactly what happened and what is going to happen now moving forward. Griselda?
Ayanda, thank you very much indeed. Thank you very much, despite the fact that you've been moved from a much closer vantage point there. Thank you very much indeed for that update. I'm sure a bit later on we'll be able to get a bit more once we have some of the ministers that will be arriving there and some of those leading in KwaZulu-Natal to get an update. Perhaps they'll get a briefing first before speaking to the media about what the latest is pertaining to that. Still on the same story, rescue teams had worked overnight to assist all the people who were trapped in that collapsed building where Ayanda has been crossing live from. So builders were adding concrete on top of a level of the multi-story temple which had collapsed, and at least one person died, as we indicated. The eThekwini municipality in KwaZulu-Natal indicating that a preliminary report confirmed that no building plans were approved for the 4-story temple. We heard a bit about that from Ayanda. We'll get a bit more of that a bit later.